do you have hope that initiatives like that, where people can put aside their politics, turn away from the divide and conquer agenda, and collaborate to free Julian, that maybe this, if international law isn't going to work and if diplomacy is non-existent, can we together make a difference?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. I'm very fortunate to work with a guy named Brian Becker. Brian is one of the founders of an organization that does large-scale actions, demonstrations, sit-ins, protests. It's called the Answer Coalition. And his work in the anti-war movement it's positively inspirational. Well, Brian and I talk about Julian all the time, along with Diani Barreto and Randy Kiriakou and other supporters of Julian. And Brian is confident that once we move this into the streets, we can have an impact. He's able to, and I've actually seen this with my own eyes, he's able to say, I think I'm going to file a petition to close XYZ Street in Washington in 2 weeks for a march. And then somehow 50,000 people turn up. How he's able to organize that, I have no idea, but I've seen it with my own eyes. And I know that if he can do it, we can do it. And certainly he would help us do it. But yeah, I think we can have an honest to God impact if we take to the streets. And you're right, our government isn't going to help us do anything. And I don't trust the media to help us do anything. We have to do it ourselves.
Sadly, nor are the NGOs doing much about it either. They seem to react belatedly to where there is existing large-scale public pressure rather than helping to create that large-scale public pressure.
Yeah, where's the ACLU in all this? And why isn't the ACLU filing charges on behalf of WikiLeaks and Julian? Or cases, rather. I'm disappointed.
I have no answer for that, but I have noticed that the statements from HRW and others seem to turn up when there is a ramping up in the public discourse in support of Julian and WikiLeaks, which is really disappointing because I would expect those NGOs to lead the charge on these issues and not just to be reactionary.
Well, when I was arrested, they ran screaming from the room. I got literally no help from Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, or the ACLU. Nothing. So if I were Julian, I wouldn't.
Did they eventually come to the party, though?
Eventually.
Once you had a high enough profile that it becomes beneficial to them to associate themselves with you.
Eventually, Human Rights Watch did. And then it was only thanks to Ai Weiwei that Amnesty International finally came around. And it was because Weiwei identified me as a political prisoner and then did my portrait out of Legos for the Smithsonian Institution. And then finally Amnesty said, well, okay, I guess he was a political prisoner after all.